Hello, dear student. This is Amir Khan, your social studies teacher. Today, our topic is on two nation theory, where you will learn about the concept of two nation theory and the reason of two nation theory. Then, what were the major roles of that creation of the two nation theory according to Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan, Allama Iqbal, Qaid Azam, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So, if we will start our topic of two nation theory, it come in our mind of two nation. Two means two and nation means two nation. Means of two difference of religion. If we come to the concept of two nation theory of Pakistan, and what two nation, there are two differences of the concept, culture, difference of culture, and differences of culture, differences of uh, religion, differences of education, differences of economic. These were difference of social. So these were called of the different of nation. If we come to the meaning, exact meaning, the two nation theory means cultural, political, religious, economical, and social dissimilarities between the two major communities like Hindus and Muslims of the subcontinent. These were the meaning of the two nation theory. The theory means that there were two nations in the subcontinent, the Hindus and the Muslim. Subcontinent consist of two different communities. Like in subcontinent at the time, two nations. There was two nations were living in the subcontinent. So what were there? The differences, they were totally different from each other according to religious, cultural, social, which was before political, language. What was in religious point of view, if we look over here, we have two differences of that. Hinduism where concepts of this in worships in temple. Then according to the Muslim, we have the Kaaba and mosque. So these were the differences which we can, the two nations were two different. Then we come to politically. In politically, if we look over here, what were the differences in the starting Hindu, they were saying that Urdu would be not the official, they should change that into Hindi script. Then we come to the Congress attitude was there. What was the Congress attitude according to the Muslims? According to the Hindus, they were preferring for the Hindus Congress. Then the partition of Bengal, which was good for the Muslim, but it was not good for the Hindus. Then what was the economical difference of Hindus and Muslims? There were proper check and balance in the economy of the Islam, but in Hindu no check and balance. Zakat were compulsory in Muslim, but no concept of zakat in Hindu. Then interest were strictly forbidden in Islam, but no concept of interest. Then Muslim were thrown outside from the government sector, they were financially weak. Then what happened? The Hindus were provided the ample of opportunity to progress economically. These were the economical difference of Hindus and Muslims. Then when it comes to the educationally, of the modern education, Muslims were not getting modern education as compared to Hindus were advanced of that education. Then they could not cope with the society because of the ignorance of modern education, but they copied the best. Muslims were then, what about the Hindus? They copied the best solution, social status because of the modern education. Then we come to the social. The Hindus were already established them to the government service as also the key positions of trade, industries, and finance. They needed to support for the masses of the community in their struggle with the Hindus' revolt to the job. So these were the concepts which we have. The Hindus and the Muslims were totally different from each other, which after come is as the ideology of Pakistan. The main part of that is two nation theory. You have seen that what was the differences and how that change into ideology. These concepts start and what happened that make a Pakistan ideology. Then what was the roles of the major role of the leaderships of the Muslim. First, if we come to Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan, Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan was the first Muslim leader who presented the idea of two-nation theory. He was the pioneer of the two-nation theory. At first time, if we have look on that in the 80s, that he starts, Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan start of the Anglo-Oriental College, then Sir Sayyid Aligarh College. What educationally and socially, there was first time that in return Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan wrote a pamphlet to give for the British about the misconception of that Muslim for the British. So this was, he was the first man who was the pioneer of the two-nation theory. Then what about the Allama Iqbal? Allama Iqbal was a great poet, philosopher, politician. Allama Iqbal had sensitive hearts and deep thinking mind. He was dismayed of the pathetic condition of the Muslim generally, in the Indian Muslim particularly. What happened, what was the concept according to the poet philosopher, that he has dissolved that misconception of the Hindu. The unite of the Indian society are not territory of the European countries. So these were of the Allama Iqbal's point for the two-nation theory. Then what about the Qaid-e-Azam? Qaid-e-Azam was the firm advocate of two-nation theory, which became the ideology basis of Pakistan. He considered the Muslims as a separate nation. He said Pakistan was created the day of the first Indian national entire to the field of Islam. So if we come to that on the basis of the Islam, on the basis of the two-nation theory, Pakistan was independence, and because of that concepts which Hindus and Muslims can't live together, there was a totally different. Then what about the, according to Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, there was many nations living in the subcontinent. Among them, Hindus and Muslims are two big nations which could not join with each other even after living together for many centuries. So what happened, he has given the concept that if the Muslims can live, the Muslims and Hindus are totally different from each other. These were the main points of that two-nation theories of the leaderships of the Muslims. But you can also look from the page number 89 to 93 for more the concepts of two-nation theory. So thank you so much for listening me.